Talk about the changes that the store's gone through, in particular your ownership, but just the 50 years, and why do you feel like it still resonates to stay open after 50 years?
So I get asked that question a lot actually. So you walk in here back in the day, and you had the white walls with the mirrors on the side and like the kids' pictures on there. You had shelves all across the store, and I think part of the reason why people still come to us, why we think it appeals to them, is the nostalgia. You have people from multiple generations who come in here, and a lot of them are in awe of the change and the fact that we're still around.
Right.
Hearing grandfather, great grandfather come in, they're like, I used to bring my kids, my kids bring their kids. You have a lineage of families who come here, and hearing everybody's story, I think is one of the best parts.
Right.
And a lot of that went into the remodeling of the store, trying to make sure we kept the original logo, just making sure we updated it to reflect the timeline that we're in, the 21st century. We wanted to make sure that you can instill an appeal to the youth, bringing them in here, and I think that's what we tried to capture. A lot of kids come in here and they're like, you had what I call cafeteria style lighting, the long light bulbs, and you had the floor, which they came in here and they're like, I can't believe you guys are still here. You guys did some changes, but it looks amazing. Now people have their reservations. We used to have the oven right over here actually,
Right.
the big carousel oven. That was also a little dated, so we needed to make some updates just for liability and safety purposes. But I think overall we were pleased with how the store came out and people's reaction to it.
So at this point, what has been over the years just a favorite? You talk about nostalgia. I'm sure people come in here wanting to taste a cookie they had as a child, or like I said, somebody was a child who's now a parent, who's now a grandparent. So what tends to be the things that really bring people in here in terms of the product itself?
So you would think they would be the chocolate chip, because that's the most popular cookie that we have. But it's actually the smiley faces. The smiley faces have been here since the start of the business. People come in here and they come with their kids, their grandkids, and I'm like, they were reminisce of how they used to come and get this. The biggest story that we have is parents coming in here and like, my mom and dad told me, if we behaved when we went shopping, they'd come and buy us a cookie. And they would get the one on the stick every single time.
Yeah.
Or if not the kitty on the stick, the peekaboos. Those are nostalgic. Those have been here since the start. And we have no intention of changing that. We try to keep those on stock at all times. But that by far, the smiley face is the one that people really are drawn to.
So and the last thing is, you were talking about, you bought the company in 2018. What have you done to change things but still keep the nostalgia?
So we try to include a lot more of the variety. We try not to mess with anything that was here before, because like the old saying goes, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But we try to include a little bit more variety. We have seasonal flavors that we bring in. We bring in a lot more things. We have cupcakes, muffins. We do have the cheese danishes that are coming in. We change flavors during the fall, spring, and summer to reflect interest. Like we have different types of pumpkin pie flavors, apple caramel cookies that we have coming in. So overall, I think just not touching what was there before.
Right.
There's no reason to change what's been working for 50 years now.